Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4. And the Blues suffer a second consecutive defeat, and one that seems more damaging than the one that happened to them a few days ago when Liverpool ran riot at Anfield. Now, Wolves were very good in this game, but one of the things that Chelsea should be worried about is not really the fact that they lost to Wolves. Wolves are a good team, and they have threatened to beat a lot of the teams at the top. They beat Manchester City, beat Tottenham, and they've had a number of generally very good games. But coming into this game, Chelsea would have hoped to get some reprieve from, the fixtures that they've had, especially the one on Thursday when they were thoroughly dominated. But to lose 4-2 at home against Wolves has shown just how far Chelsea have fallen, and not because Wolves are not a good team, but because Wolves look as though they would have been the team that was playing at home. If you would have switched the jerseys from one side to the other, you could have thought that this was the Chelsea team of a few years ago. Gary O'Neill is doing a very good job with Wolverhampton Wanderers, but on the other side, the question is Pochettino even going to last the rest of the season? But anyway, guys, it's your boy Izzy, back here again reviewing Chelsea against Wolves. And if you don't mind, please hit that like and the subscribe button to let YouTube and everybody else know that you are enjoying this content. One thing Chelsea have not enjoyed, though, is their last two games. And today, I don't really want to speak too much about what transpired in the game because we have seen a lot of what Chelsea have been this season, enough to know that this was going to be a very difficult game for them. But the problem with Chelsea is because there doesn't seem to be any evolution from the gameplay that Mauricio Pochettino is trying to impose on the team. The more worrying thing is the way their defense keeps on leaking a lot of these goals. The fact that they conceded 4 goals at home today to Wolves, who, yes, played very well, but seemed to make the game a lot easier than it should have been at Stamford Bridge. Their first victory there since, I believe, 1979 is much more than cause for concern for Chelsea. Pochettino should be fearing for his job right now. A Cunha hat-trick is something that is good for the guy. He's been very good in very many games this season, but I think that today his attacking output was actually rewarded by tangible goals. Pedro Neto is a star, and when it comes to the summer transfer window, he is definitely going to move to one of the top teams. My hope is that he goes to Arsenal because he's been linked with us a few times, but I can see him definitely going in on that Arsenal or Manchester City team or Manchester United and being able to displace somebody there. Now, with Arsenal, he'd quite possibly be a backup to Saka, but he would be favorable in playing in the middle of the park, or he could play on the other side with Martinelli, but he would make a very good inclusion to anybody in the top 4 for any of those teams. Tottenham would also take him, and I'm pretty sure other teams outside England would be able to take him. Wolves are a very good team, and the fact that they were able to cut through Chelsea so easy during general parts of this game is something that's got to be worrying. Cole Palmer is a very good player, and he seems to always come up for Chelsea, but it seems as though he's running a one-man mission. Sterling was very wasteful today. The likes of your Ben Chilwell, and in defense, other players, Disasi was caught at 6s and 7s many times over. I feel so bad for Thiago Silva, who seems to be the only player in this Chelsea team other than Cole Palmer who's trying to drag them out of the mire that they're in. And the worst thing is that when you look around, and being a player who's as decorated as he is, and you see all of the players that he has played around in recent seasons, and to see that team disintegrate into what it's been right now, you have to feel for Chelsea. And for a team that's also been very used to being at the top of the table for the last 20 so years, it's going to be hard for a lot of their fans to digest the results that they're getting right now. Now, they are supposed to win games such as these, but the Chelsea that we know right now is a pale shadow of who they were only about 3 years ago. And one of the things that I've said many times over is I don't understand why Todd Bowley and Clearlake are trying to rip up whatever Chelsea had been for the last 20 years. They could have easily transitioned most of the people that worked under Roman Abramovich into what they have right now. The fact that they let go of Maria Granovskaya, who seemed to have been doing a phenomenal job with Chelsea, and Petr Cech, people who knew the club in and out, and they have this revolving door of people and executives that are coming into the club and being dismissed. And then you look at Pochettino, and his overall record is just as bad, if not worse, than Graham Potter. I saw a graphic today that had Chelsea with more goals conceded at this point of the season than under the Graham Potter regime, and they have scored less goals, and they're in a worse off position. So the question is, are Clearlake and Todd Bowley making the best decisions? And you can see a lot of the Chelsea fan channels out there ripping into this team, and deservedly so. But a lot of the players are also young players. And so it's hard to go in on those players because we don't know whether in the next 4 or 5 years they are going to be better than they are right now at other clubs if they were to be sold. The likes of Mykhailo Mudryk and the likes of Caicedo are having a very tough time of it right now. And Chelsea are a team that have spent an unbelievable, obscene amount of money without any significant return, especially this season when you would have hoped that they could be at least fighting for that Europa League spot. But that area is so congested with teams that are far better than Chelsea. You look at Brighton, you look at the likes of West Ham, and teams that would normally cower in the presence of Chelsea are beating them, and beating them healthily, as it was in the case of Wolves today, who I want to touch on a little bit because from what I saw in the game, they were very competent. They went 4-1 up and they looked very well worth the result that they got. Gary O'Neill is one of these managers who strikes me as an innovator, and the way he is able to raise the game week in, week out for most of his players is impressive. Now, they did play poorly against Manchester United in the first half of that game a few days ago, but they did try to resuscitate their performance towards the end of the game, and they would have gotten away with a point, which I don't believe they deserved, but they quite possibly could have done that if it wasn't for a lapse of concentration at the end. But today they seem to have gone after Chelsea right from the off, and Chelsea didn't seem to have the competent answers for them. Chelsea went ahead in the game, and you would have expected that that would drive them forward to be able to seize the initiative, but that did not occur in the least bit. And a lot of the players who have been bought for huge sums of money are not answering to what they're supposed to do. But at the end of it all, I want to say congratulations to Wolves. They played a decent game, and the fact that they were not deterred by the fact that they went 1-0 down at Stamford Bridge, where most teams would quite possibly lose their heads at that point, is very phenomenal. And I think that Gary O'Neill keeps on proving that, whether it was at Bournemouth with very meager funds or here at Wolves with the exact same meager funds, he is able to take a team that is battling relegation into quite comfortably a safe place in mid-table. And teams such as Crystal Palace, who have not had the ability to innovate or find managers who would be able to bring them and take them to the next level, would have been looking at somebody like this or somebody with the same ilk and would want to capture him. But I do think that he's doing a very good job with very limited funds, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are a good team to watch, and they deserve to be mid-table. And in my opinion, they possibly should be slightly above where they are right now, because most of their games this season have had good performances, and they might not have got some of the results that they would have deserved. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Chelsea. I think that recounting the game in this instance would not have done anything much to speak to what Chelsea are going through. And most of the problems that they're having are more than structural and much more than the personnel that they have, because I do not believe that most of these players that we see out there are being played to the best of their ability. Some of these players are much better than they are showing, and whether it's just the general state of the club or whether it's the management above them, Chelsea are in real trouble. And if they don't find their footing anytime soon, most of the people that they've bought with these long contracts are going to keep them right in the middle of the table for a long time to come. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. It's your boy Izzy, and as always, until the next review, peace.